Hi, my name is Aditya Arun, and today I'm going to be talking about the legacy of railroads in Washington. Now, you might ask what railroad I'm going to be talking about. Well, I'm going to be talking about the Northern Pacific Railroad, which runs through Idaho, Oregon, Minnesota, Montana, Wisconsin, and of course, Washington. The Northern Pacific Railroad is one of the Pacific Railroads. There are a total of 4 Pacific Railroads: the Central Pacific Railroad, the Union Pacific Railroad, the Southern Pacific Railroad, and the Northern Pacific Railroad. If you look on the map on my exhibit, you'll see that the red line represents the Northern Pacific Railroad route. You will also see a picture of a railroad yard, railway workers, the opening ceremony, the modern logo of the Northern Pacific Railway, an advertisement, and a timeline of 5 events. All of these pictures explain the legacy railroads left on Washington. Apart from that, I also have 3 more reasons on the same subject. My 3 reasons are: railroads had a legacy on Washington state because they created and formed relationships with other towns and cities, they helped discover new places in Washington, and they made shipping and transportation much easier. A piece of evidence for my first reason, railroads created and formed relationships with other towns and cities, is, according to Scribd.com, whole towns were created due in part to railroads. This shows that railroads had a legacy on Washington state because the towns and cities left behind are now highly populated and useful. Another piece of evidence is, according to the West the railroads made, lots of relationships were formed with other towns, cities, and states because of railroads. This proves that railroads had a legacy on Washington state because the people of Washington state nowadays use those relationships to their advantage. My second reason is that railroads helped discover new places in Washington. According to HistoryLink.com, the federal government dispatched Army surveyors in the 1850s to explore possible routes in the Pacific Northwest. This shows that railroads had a legacy on Washington state because the new places people discovered became populated or made into useful places like railroad yards. Another piece of evidence is, according to GoScholastic.com, the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad assisted in discovering a few places in Washington state. This shows that railroads had a legacy on Washington state because these places that were discovered have been handed down or made into towns or cities. My third and final reason is railroads helped make shipping and transportation much easier. According to GTGTechnologyGroup.com, the Northern Pacific Railroad offered an efficient way to move goods from one place to another. This shows that railroads had a legacy on Washington state because railroads made shipping much easier. Also, according to Washington.edu, the population in Washington increased quickly after the arrival of the Northern Pacific Railroad. At that time, many people used railroads to get to places far away. This proves that railroads had a legacy on Washington state because railroads revolutionized transportation. If you look at the picture of the advertisement, that is supposed to represent how much more faster the Northern Pacific Railroad made transportation. In fact, many great trains use the railroad, which is what this advertisement is promoting. If you look at another picture on my exhibit, the logo of the Northern Pacific Railway, that is supposed to symbolize one of the biggest things that was left behind. The railroad, of course. This is a highly efficient railroad that people still use to this day. Thank you for listening.